Going live. Hey, we're going live. I have no idea how to get. I'd like to put the link on Facebook. Maybe I'll just take a quick look on YouTube and see if I can get a link from.
Sorry I had to kill that light, it was bugging me.
Good, I can do this. Oh, kill that though, because
sorry I had to kill that light.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Look, okay, we are now live. Publish it. Anybody wants to watch, that's fine. Good. So, today, I guess, I don't know how long we're going to be going on for because we don't have that much to talk about. But a bunch of things that are going on. What have I got up here? Oh, we have the school policy that's being vigorously opposed by, over LGBTQ rights, being vigorously fought by religious schools. In fact, a representative from 2 religious schools is saying that they are going to outright refuse. We'll talk about that in a minute. And we'll have a look at the report card on the policies. The report card was made up by the Alberta provincial government, taking a look at various aspects of their LGBTQ policies in Alberta schools, and some surprises and some that weren't much of a surprise. St. Peterborough has a bunch of bus ads going around, which are pro-life or preferably anti-choice. And, oh yeah, Bob Sears. Oh yes, Dr. Bob Sears. Dr. Bob is facing discipline from California for medicine on his from numerous things, not just his anti-vaccination stance. Anjum Chowdhury, Andy as he used to like to be known, has been sentenced for his participation in getting people to join ISIS. Anjum Chowdhury is someone you might remember as a personage who didn't like having his face made up like a whore, and asked to have it taken down, whereas everybody said ha ha ha. What else we got? Oh yeah, there was this past last weekend, Calgary Pride was going on, and there's another issue in Nanaimo, British Columbia, where a rainbow sidewalk or a crosswalk was written over with a Bible verse reference. That a bit. Fluoridation of Calgary water is being reconsidered. It was ended in 2011 and is now back in front of City Council after a study showed that the rate of cavities in children was on the rise after they ended fluoridation. And like a couple of announcements. The Alberta Secular Conference is in Edmonton this year. What else? Oh, I couldn't find the link to the Turkey thing. It didn't open for me.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I'm having quite a hard time hearing you. I'm getting a lot of background noise. Twyla, are you having trouble hearing him too?
Yeah, the volume doesn't seem loud enough. I can hear Christine better.
Okay, let me see. No, everything here seems to be maybe. How about no, not closer to the mic?
That's a little better, but maybe it's just on my end. I just hear kind of like a strange background noise.
There's no background noise here. Anyhow, check.
Can hear you better anyway.
Okay, looks actually good on my end. How about this?
Copy headphones.
Can you hear this?
I can hear that.
How about that? Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it better than my voice?
No.
Oh,
It's something
okay,
sounding distorted on my end.
it's on your end then, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just gonna see if I have another pair of headphones around here. Carry on.
All right. And while Christine searches for her other set of headphones,
Yeah, sorry.
let's see what. Anybody's on here.
Sorry.
Okay, so
I'll just have to deal with it.
what shall we talk about first? Shall we do the Catholic, well, the report card? So this is from the Edmonton Journal. I'll put it up on screen here. All right, you able to see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from the Edmonton Journal. Catholic school districts dispute poor marks on LGBTQ policy report card. So the province requested from the various school boards in the province outlining their policy for LGBTQ staff, students, and families. So this is an initiative by the New Democratic Party, which is in power in Alberta right now. And shock and surprise, whoops, something auto started. I hate that.
Yeah.
Two Catholic districts awarded poor grades. Actually, they were awarded failing grades. And the report fired back Tuesday saying the advocacy group's analysis is unfair and incomplete because the report did not consider all the relative documents. I doubt that.
Especially when you're with this annoying analysis.
Can we kill that? Yeah. Right. Any website that has an auto play should be shot. Okay. Yeah. So
I think if you just scroll past it, it usually stops.
The report card. Let's see if I can find it down here. Oh, there was a picture of it somewhere. Darn it. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So
It said Red Deer Public Schools A+.
yeah, the shocker. Red Deer Public Schools got an A+ for their policies. Now this is Redneck Central, and that actually was interesting to me. Lethbridge School District. Lethbridge is one of the larger cities in Alberta.
Note it says Red Deer Public Schools, not Catholic schools, though.
Well, yeah. There must be Catholic schools in Red Deer, right?
Oh yeah, it's at least 50%, if not more.
Okay. Grand Prairie and District Catholic schools received D. Grand Prairie, actually, they upgraded the mark because it is true that I think this is what they were referring to when they hadn't considered all the documents, and I think it was Grand Prairie that complained about that, and actually the government has acknowledged that was indeed the case. I think they've upgraded their mark. The Greater St. Albert Catholic School Division, which is up near Edmonton, received an absolute F. So of course they're whining, and there are two schools. Now if we go to This is from the Friendly Atheist, so it actually made made it to the Friendly Atheist. It's about okay. The problem was that Pastor Brian Coldwell, who heads up the Independent Baptist Christian Education Society, which runs 2 Alberta schools, had no intention of complying with the new guidelines. And this is pretty much true across the board for religious independent schools. 60 to 70% of the funding comes directly from the taxpayers of Alberta. And I'd like to say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I already want to say no to the Catholic School Board. But this is ridiculous. These are not schools which are under the umbrella of the Department of Education, not directly. But why they received $1, I have no idea.
Yeah, I was quite pissed off when I heard about that. How our tax maps are, I always kind of assumed that they would either go to the public or separate system, right? Because that's how it's framed in your taxes, right?
Yes.
And,
yeah,
so
that's what everybody is.
Yeah.
We're not even considering the Baptist. Those are separately funded. They're supposed to be private. It's supposed to be a private school. Yet they receive 60, 70, and I've even heard 80% of their fund comes from the government of Alberta. Why they get $1 is completely beyond me.
Yeah.
But it is a myth that is commonly believed that when you mark on your census form that which school system you support, either the Catholic school system or the public school system, that your tax dollars would go to the one that you tick. But it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you even have the question on there? I have no idea. What else? Oh yeah, and so there's the upside of it, of course, is that you have a pretty big stick that you can thump on these people. This Baptist school representative is saying it's about religious freedom, blah blah blah. Not when it comes to children, But you have a big stick. You have 60-70% of their funding comes from the province of Alberta. You can certainly say, okay, you're either getting in line with the rest of the province and rest of the of society, or we'll just take away your funding. I mean, I hope they're brave enough to do that.
I mean, it should just be one public system, anyway. Yeah. So if they, I'm not going to shed any tears if they take away their funding. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, but then we still have the problem with the Catholic school system, and
well, that's another thing too. We should have one system.
Yes, we should.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It makes no sense to have a Catholic school system. Now, ostensibly, the Catholic Church has no legal standing when it comes to school policies and school boards, etc. But let's face it, de facto they do, because they speak out on this. I'm going to show you a tweet from a Father Stefano Penna. Let me just bring it up here. Bingo.
I have a quote that I'd like to, from Pastor Brian Coldwell, I'd like to mention as well.
Just let me show this here. He says, unelected ideologues appoint themselves to grade schools on policy they wrote. Who asked them to do either? Isn't that kind of pot, calling the kettle black? This is the Catholic Church here. Nobody elects him to the position of father. I mean, I don't want him to be my father. And so policies that somebody who claims to have a direct telephone line to God writes. Seriously, we voted for the NDP. Get over it.
Yes.
You can't have everything voted for in a platform because things come up. And we already have actual legal cases which say that no, you might not have voted for it, but you have voted these people in, so you have a vote the next time the election comes around, and you can vote your displeasure then. So get over it, Father Panna. So
And
anyway, go
of
ahead.
course. Well, Pastor Brian Coldwell, chair of Independent Baptist Christian Education Society, which runs this Meadow Baptist Academy and Harvest Baptist Academy in rural Parkland County, when speaking on the new LGBTQ policies and requirements in the Alberta education system, recently told CBC, "There is no way under heaven I'm going to allow gay activists to come in here and basically undermine our ministries and our religious freedoms and confuse and corrupt our children." And then, of course, we have Jason Kenney, who is trying to unite the right-wing parties.
Yes, Jason Kenney is a Harper protege. He's currently the member of Parliament next door to my riding, and is very much a small C conservative, religious right kind of person. And so now he figures he can't make it as leader of the Conservative Party of Canada, so he's going federal, yes. So he's going provincial.
And he says that we should compromise with these anti-gay trans schools. And as you've already brought up, Randy, these schools get 60 to 70% of their funding from the government of Alberta. They've received nearly $4,500,000 in taxpayer money since 2010, 2011, according to Progress Alberta. So they've got a petition out, and to sign the petition, if you'd like, schools who refuse to follow public rules should not receive any public dollars, and phone education minister David Egan. There's a phone number and such too. So if we want to post this petition as well, I don't know.
Yeah, sure. We'll put it on the Facebook page.
I thought I had, but I could be wrong.
I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the time to start thinking about eliminating all public support of religious schools, whether it's the Catholic school system, which is part of the Alberta Constitution, or definitely funding of private schools such as this, and the Baptist schools. There's a bunch of others. What would be interesting, and somebody in the comments made a good point. How did the Islamic school in Calgary rate?
That's a good point.
I'd be interested to know.
Yeah.
I might be
What did
surprised.
the Scientology school in Edmonton rate?
Oh, there is?
Yes. Yeah, and our tax dollars are going toward that one too. Yeah.
No tax dollars should go to any independent school.
Yeah.
I don't care, but whether they're religious or not. Just, no. You want your own thing, you've got to pay for it. I will not support it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why Jason Kenney thinks this is a good idea to tell us that we should compromise on these human rights.
Yeah, well, Jason Kenney thinks Jason Kenney is a good idea. That says it all.
I just, if he does manage to get one right-wing party in Alberta, I guess we'll understand who's going to vote for him.
Well, there may
Like that pastor.
be one right-wing party in Alberta someday, but he won't be the one to do it.
Okay.
I mean, he's just, I don't know, I think he's got a very inflated vision of himself. I mean, what happened to the last Harper protege who headed the Conservative Party in Alberta?
Well, there's Brian Jean yet. So which one are you referring to?
Prentice.
Okay.
Jim Prentice.
Brian Jean was with Wild Rose, and Prentice was with the Progressive Conservatives.
Yeah.
And they both were on Harper's federal team. So.
And now Harper is himself leaving politics. Finally.
Bye. Yay.
Don't let the door hit your ass on your way out.
Yes.
Get vamoose. Yeah, I'm sure there must be a listener out there who's pro Harper, but I don't. I found two atheists that I've met who are Harper supporters. And that's it. It's amazing how we tend to have the same political leanings. Whether you're NDP or Liberal supporting, we're pretty much on the same page. It's just minutiae that we're arguing about. I mean,
Well,
our view of the party.
I certainly know atheists who are fiscal conservatives, but not social conservatives, right?
Right.
And then there's a bunch that are libertarian.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Well, most people that say they're libertarian aren't libertarian. They just they conflate this idea of you must, if you believe in individual rights and freedoms, you must be a libertarian. Well, that's not true. You can be many things other than libertarian to believe in that. I happen to be one. I just don't believe in getting government out of everything. I mean, getting government out of your education, you've got to be kidding me. It's one of the most important state-building things we have, right, to educate children to be the next citizens of our country.
Which therefore is a good reason why we need to keep religion out of government so that they're not stipulating what's taught.
Yeah.
Did you hear her?
Kind of partly.
Okay.
You want to say that again, Twyla?
You said that's why it's important to keep religion out of politics so that they are the ones stipulating what is taught for education when you have a public education system.
Twyla's a Cylon.
Huh?
You're a Cylon.
Your sound is terrible. It's just like...
You sound like you're... Try it again.
I'm wondering if there's something wrong with my
Mike is kind of doing funny things. Sorry.
microphone or something. Can you hear me now?
Not very well.
I don't know, my computer system is not the best either, so no.
Maybe you should sign off and sign back on again.
Yeah, try that. See what happens.
Just a sec. Talk now.
Test.
Yeah,
No.
it's still doing it. Yeah.
No idea what I can change on this to make it better either. Hello?
Yeah, she should try signing it back in again.
It's her that I'm hearing the background noise from, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Pardon me?
My voice good now?
Yeah.
Hey, we have a comment on this video.
Oh, wow.
Hey, Brenda. Unfortunately, I don't know what. I think your cat was running over your keyboard. Carlos Zavala. Oh, hello and welcome. And I'll monitor this. If you guys got any questions, feel free to post them in the comments.
Cool. How do you how can I see that?
Just go to our YouTube page.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Go to
Cool.
179 and hopefully we'll get Twyla back in here in a moment. And she's not back. She's We're having technical difficulties. Anyway, shall we mosey on to
What is going on there?
what's that?
I'm hearing two of you saying two different things.
Oh, let me. Oh, shoot. Okay, let me kill this. How about now? Oh yeah. Well, we got to talk about Mother Teresa. You wanted to talk about Mother Teresa. We kind of talked about this last episode. That he's not what you and I would consider a saint, or we refer to Mother Teresa as Mofo Teresa.
Randy, I'm getting two soundtracks going here.
Like what?
Okay.
Riley, you back? Unmute your
Yes,
mic.
can you hear me?
That's way better.
What?
That's a lot better.
Okay, must have been the connection because I didn't change anything. So
Okay, good. We're back. I don't know if I can actually go to the comments and see. Let me try that. Anyway, we're just about to talk about Mother Teresa again, or Mofo Teresa. Yeah, it's. And, okay, good. So now I can see the comments. All right. So Mother Teresa, or Mofo Teresa, was canonized and is now a saint. And as we talked about last time, there really isn't much in the way of what a humanist would call saintly behavior, if we would talk about saints at all. Of course, we wouldn't. And the editor for one of the probably three biggest medical journals in the world, The Lancet, Robin Fox, went to one of her death centers and observed what was going on, and he said that the medical care was haphazard. There were all sorts of things going on, like reusing needles. Basically, healthcare was, here's an aspirin and go on your cot and die, and by the way, here's a Chick tract. You're going to heaven, whatever. And when I had a discussion on, I like to troll sometimes. Catholic Register is one of the places I like to troll on Twitter, and somebody was responding to me saying, well, it wasn't a medical mission, it was a theological mission. And I'm like, yeah, but how does that excuse not getting proper medical care for people? I don't understand. I mean, you know, he was saying, well, he couldn't administer, or she couldn't administer, or her sisters administered drugs, etc. And I'm like, yeah, so what was preventing them from obtaining medical help for these people?
Yeah, no kidding.
yeah, actually,
She had
hiring
lots of
doctors and nurses.
What's that?
They basically falsely advertised their purpose and what they did then.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was spin. Like, I don't think the Vatican ever said that she was some sort of miracle worker in terms of healthcare for the poor. And as Hitch said, she wasn't a friend of the poor. She was a friend of poverty.
And pain.
So doctrinally speaking, she's a perfect saint. She represented dogmatic adherence to a doctrine which I find patently evil, and that is the doctrine of redemptive suffering. And from a Catholic perspective, that's perfect for a saint. From a humanistic perspective, that's someone who should be reviled, and was by most humanists.
Yeah, I'm surprised with kind of the, I guess, was there a lot of public outrage, or is it more from our camp kind of thing and not much of it?
Our camp. There's
okay.
no. I just kind of can't figure out how so many people were duped by the Vatican PR machine into believing.
Oh, that's their job.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I
Duping
know
people.
for a few thousand years, and
Yeah.
they'd be pretty good at it by now. But still, something as obvious as this. I mean, if you actually looked objectively at what she did, there's nothing there. I mean,
Yeah.
you have no idea where the money went. I mean, the person that I was arguing with from the Catholic Register was saying, well, all went to evangelizing. I'm like, okay, how is that
Isn't that
doing?
kind of free? Like, can you not just open your mouth and
How's
talk?
that saintly?
Yeah, yeah.
I,
It's
I
good.
don't understand how, you know,
When you
unless
talk-
you're doing printed materials or something like that, but that would be pretty minuscule too compared to the money that she took in.
I wonder how much Chick spends every year on his tracks.
Hmm.
I love. Have you ever listened to the Bible Reloaded? On YouTube?
Yeah, once or twice.
They're
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty good stuff on Chick tracks, and they dramatize them, and it's quite funny. I can imagine doing one of those after having 5 or 6 beer and having a good time.
We should.
Something like that. I don't know. I don't want to steal their thing.
Hey, did you and Rhonda watch that movie on the weekend?
No, we didn't. You know, I
Oh,
promised
okay.
to have a review for Sausage Party.
Yeah.
Never got around to it. I had a wedding, not a wedding, but a wedding. You know, the thing that happens after a wedding.
Divorce? No.
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon.
No, not the. I'm not shooting. I'm not doing porn.
Oh, okay.
I was shooting
Reception?
Yeah, the reception.
Okay.
It was a Chinese wedding. It was a good friend of mine. I work with the guy, and so I had that going on. And today we could have, I suppose, but my wife's in nursing school, and so she's very busy. The nursing school started up last week, and she's already hip deep in homework. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm hoping we're going to get next weekend.
Cool.
Barring that, I don't know. But I really look forward to it because Sausage Party, Seth Rogen's comic animated film for adults, do not take children to this, is very harsh criticism of religion. And so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Cool.
But speaking of that, Lucifer comes back on. Yay! On not this coming Monday, but next Monday. It's my favorite network television program. It actually is a surprise that it was renewed for a second season because a lot of right-wingers and conservatives and religious people were very upset that Lucifer was being portrayed as a nice guy. Going to dictate to the rest of us that we shouldn't watch it. That kind of crap I see a lot of that in social justice too. That's why I oppose a lot of social justice. Obviously, I don't oppose all social justice because I'm talking about social justice issues on this podcast a lot. I mean, we just had a talk about LGBTQ policies in schools, and I support those. It's just the policing and the censoring,
Safe spaces, all that bullshit.
That's the stupid shit. Safe spaces, give me a break. Trigger warnings, come on.
Mm-hmm. Microaggressions, my favorite.
in University of California, one of them, I can't remember if it was Berkeley or something like that, they're having separate housing for black students so that they can avoid microaggressions.
Well, yeah.
And
wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the fight kind of like
it used to be against segregation, now it's for segregation.
Yeah,
that's
actually bizarre.
What?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
Mm.
It's just it's a batshit crazy world in not academia, in some places in academia, but student world. It's the tail wagging the dog, right? The students are telling the universities what they should be learning and how they should be learning it. I mean, you've got to be kidding me.
There's one of the universities that sent out like a letter to their new students saying basically we don't support this safe space crap. What?
That was University of Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for
Good
them.
on.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, it's gone crazy. I don't know if it's happening up here yet. I don't think it is. I haven't seen anything. I'd love to find out, but
Well, I think according to Gad Sad, he sees a bit of it, right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
wonder.
I think there's been issues up here.
Well,
Yeah.
I know they teach social justice up here, and that greatly concerns me. I don't think that there should be any degree I don't think there is such a thing as a degree in social justice. I just don't.
I would think that that would be the kind of thing if you want to work with international NGOs and stuff like that. Like, I could see the value in that. But if they're teaching,
Activism.
again, there's theoretical lenses that are useful to look through the world at to, tease out phenomenon and enlighten your perspective kind of thing. But if you only look through one of those lenses, you're going to have a very distorted view of the world, and that's what's going on, right?
That's the thing, and a lot of it is bizarre.
Especially if you're accepting it without being skeptical about it, right?
Yeah, well, that's you're getting at things, models of society that are, seen through a Marxist lens, which is where it seems to be these days. You're not going to see a weird skewing of things as class-based. I mean, there is some truth to that, but the thing is, when you take it too far, it's like you're a white male, right? Okay, I'm a white male. I'm gonna call you a white male. I'm a white male, and that means I must be a racist, sexist pig.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
No, that's taking it way too far.
Yeah, and you can't be racist if you're in this group or whatever. You can't be sexist if you're,
If you're a woman of color, you can't be. I mean, yeah, it's taking the model way too far in domains that it was never meant to be applied. These are models at societal level don't necessarily work at the individual level.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, I didn't want to get on that today.
Sorry.
No, I brought it up. It's my fault. Okay. Oh, yeah. Here's this. Speaking of Mother Teresa. Okay. I'm gonna share the screen again. And there we go. This is from the Catholic News Agency. Your source for everything Catholic. I was sure that it was Mother Teresa who healed me. Okay.
So she wasn't healing people, but she was again.
Yeah. Apparently, Catholicism is not monotheistic. It has demigods galore, right? I mean, if you pray to Mofo Teresa, you're expecting Mofo Teresa to do something for you, right? So Mofo Teresa must have some power that is extra human. Anyway, so apparently somebody had a diagnosis of something. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Where is it? This is a terribly written article because you'd think that they would put what this person was suffering from at the beginning. From the beginning, the diagnoses weren't
important, Randy.
Yeah, and yeah, she was healed, and they seemed only worse. What do you mean they seemed only worse? I don't get that. But from that moment inside this great suffering, we understood that something had happened. That's a lot of nothing. I was sure that it was Mother Teresa who healed me. Okay, so he spoke with journalists during some annual Rimini meeting, whatever that is, alongside his wife, who shared their own perspective on Marsilio. How do you pronounce that? Marchilios? Marchilios. Illness and miraculous healing. I'm terrible with names. They don't say what the heck. Okay, he had 8 brain abscesses. Okay. And so they prayed,
So it
and
was an infection?
yeah, basically, yeah. And I put the relic on Marciello's head where he had the abscesses. I recited the prayer of beatification and also what came from my heart. Usually that's blood, but anyway. It wasn't easy, but this period enriched me a lot. It enriched our love, our faith. Today I can say it. Today I can say it was worth it. Okay. You know, things that are statistically unlikely aren't impossible. Okay, you can recover from incredible injury. It doesn't mean it was a miracle. You know.
I thought I read another story somewhere where somebody did kind of a looked at. I don't know if it was this particular claim to a miracle, pertaining to Mother Teresa, but they kind of said it didn't make any sense. Like it sounded like she, when her husband was in surgery, she went off to pray or something like that, and just these things that just didn't add up. Like if your husband's in surgery, you're not going to drive for an hour and go pray, right? You're going to be there, and I forget what I don't know if I saw it on our page or where I saw it, but it was really refuting this. Obviously, the claim to a miracle is bullshit to begin with, but the whole story just didn't add up.
Yeah, it couldn't have been the medical intervention, right? The surgery and all.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's that too.
Tell you what, if somebody had, these severe abscesses in the brain, didn't seek medical help, well, even then, I'd still be skeptical. I mean, but why are they seeking medical intervention if they're going to put their faith in Mofo Teresa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is. And by that I mean don't do that. Seek medical help, okay? Just keep on doing that. I mean, I'm glad this person is still, kicking and great. But you might want to attribute it to the doctors who intervened medically. I don't know. Why do people reach for that miracle when there's a perfectly good doctor to thank? I don't understand.
Yeah.
So the Brazilian man, did he have brain cancer or just
No, just
infections?
basically infections, brain abscesses. That's all they say,
Because
really.
another article claims he had cancer. So what is it? If they can't even get the facts straight on this.
Well, I think facts are something that are glossed over a little bit in these articles, just a wee bit.
Yeah, because I was looking at one on abc.net.au, and then they claim it was brain tumors.
That's the problem with these things, is that you don't get all the facts whenever you're dealing with so-called miracles. They either leave things out or they embellish the claim, things like that. You have to take it with a grain of salt, or a bucket, or a barrel. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't want to work that hard at it, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to question if any of them knows. If I have to work this hard at trying to corroborate their own miracle.
Send Joe Nickel out there. That's his shtick, right? To take a look at these claims of miracles, and he's
And then in the other claim about the woman that she supposedly cured, I've got medicine cured, not Mother Teresa, say doctors. So we have doctors arguing this other miracle that supposedly happened with Monica Bezra, saying she had a stomach tumor. Her husband couldn't afford further medical treatment.
Yeah.
The missionaries of charity stepped in, took charge of the ailing wife, and then hailed
more medical care, and
But some of the doctors who treated her, for example, say that there's no evidence of miracle. They say her tumor was not fully grown and her condition responded to medical treatment.
Yeah, of course.
The drugs she was given reduced the cystic mass and it disappeared after a year's treatment. But of course, Mother Teresa gets the credit.
Yeah. Well, people want to believe the miracle. They want to believe they're special. And I don't mean short bus special. I mean, like,
Yeah, their religion is the one true, whatever, you know. Yeah.
I'm special within that religion. Look,
Yeah.
anything, Chris, you want to say about the beatification of Mofo?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm not surprised, but I am, you know, because I just thought maybe there was a little more public outrage than there was. And I was kind of hoping it wouldn't actually happen. But
Well, there's two things, right? There's what we would consider saintly behavior, and there's what the church considers saintly behavior. Those are not the same thing,
yeah,
right? Church is only interested in how to lead a pure Catholic life, not a good life. Or, well, that's not true, because they think that the good life is to lead the Catholic life. We don't. That's why we're not Catholic.
So, pardon my ignorance, and I'm sure I know this somewhere in the back of my mind, but you know how saints are the, you know, saint of, I don't know, certain things, right?
Yes.
What is she the saint of?
Dirty needles.
Redemptive suffering. Yeah.
I think I actually read it somewhere.
I'm sure I did too, and I can't remember what it is. Or
I'll post it. I gotta find out because the patron saint of.
Yeah, something.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. They have to have a saint for everything. So I think we can go on to more Catholic. Catholic. That sounds like a disease. If or a child's disease, you know, never mind. Again, the Catholic Register in Peterborough, Ontario. Oh, maybe I should share the screen. You're gonna love me for this. You're gonna love me for sharing this. I have to see around my camera. There. So here's the ad that is going that's going on the side of buses in Peterborough, Ontario. So the sign has a couple of fetal stages on it, like 7 weeks growing, 16 weeks growing, and then gone. Where did it go? Abortion kills children. It says endthekilling.ca. Of course, it's the center, the ironically named Center for Bioethical Reform.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So remember in BC, having it was what ad agency? Peter something ad agency. It's does all the billboards, at least in Western Canada.
I can't think of the name of it.
Atheist billboard. It's funny because they were fine with the atheist billboard here in Calgary.
Patterson,
yes, Patterson. They turned down atheist billboard in Vancouver, I believe, and it was really innocuous. And then you have this, which is just so over the top.
Actually, given some of the stuff that's come to our doors.
Oh, true enough.
You know, like it's just showing two fetuses in a circle with a bit of, red, right? It's okay, like.
They kind of toned it down, but still.
Totally.
But that 16-week fetus photo is all wrong. I'm looking at one online, and that's not right.
Well, that's the nature of advertising, is distortion, right? But in terms of the imagery that we've seen in the past.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I reported here that I got one of those, and I know that it's been in the mail. It's just you got to be. See, the thing is, using the mail for spreading false information is actually illegal. It's illegal in the United States as well. It's not a free speech issue. It's
Okay.
actually mail fraud.
So the post office delivers those, or do they have like flyer deliver
The
people?
office did not deliver. They refused to deliver them.
Yeah.
Correctly so. So if they did, yeah. But
Yeah.
they're going on your private property.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So if they don't use the
Get
mail,
off my lawn.
yeah, it's something else.
And most abortions happen before the 8-week mark anyways.
Yeah, they're actually very early in the first trimester, right? The city of Peterborough had originally refused to run the ad on the basis, this is a quote, on the basis that the city considered that it was divisive and controversial, from a lawyer that represented the CCBR, that is. Yeah.
Center for Bioethical Reform or whatever.
Yeah. But my client's argument was that if others want to speak, they should allow messages that are contrary. Free speech slices both ways. Where are the bus ads that say, hey, get an abortion? If you're going to say that, where are the bus ads that saying, hey, get an abortion?
Well, do we have, I don't know, ads
Yes,
for clinics and stuff like that? I don't know. Hey, we always talk about free speech, and I can't say that I disagree that they should have the right to, right? Yeah.
But free speech doesn't come without criticism, right? It's
Oh,
not,
for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that 16-week picture should actually be accurate then.
Why? It's advertising. There's, lots of, factually incorrect things in advertising all the time.
Well, and this is something I actually didn't know. I didn't know that in 2009 the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that the freedom of speech extended to political advertising on public transit. So the courts then said that citizens, including bus riders, are expected to put up with some controversy in a free and democratic society. Okay, no problem with that. And throughout the ages, free speech has stood out as the cornerstone of democracy. Who is that, from the CCBR? Yeah, CCBR. And in fact, the courts have said that the first step taken by totalitarian regimes is to muzzle the media and then the individual to prevent the sharing of opinions. Harper. And so by the courts protecting free speech, they're encouraging democratic principles. I mean, that's exactly what Harper did. He basically shut down any interaction with the press. Yeah. Conservatism is exactly like that.
Remember, he also tried to shut down when they were bringing back, the bodies from the military and that kind of thing, right? And the pressure is held and put up with that crap. They doubled down, which is good, Yeah.
Oh yeah, well their integrity's on the line. Of course, they can't allow Harper to control the media. Yeah. I mean, Harper shut down the press gallery and he did in Parliament, and promptly that was reopened by Prime Minister Trudeau, Jr., which is exactly the kind of message that we needed here. Mm-hmm. I haven't agreed with everything Trudeau's done, but that was one that I was very happy to see.
Yeah, and I think we're actually earning back our reputation on the international stage of being a not backwards, crazy-ass country that has a creationist for science, minister of science and technology and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that was
And just yeah.
It was a bad joke, not funny.
Oh God, ridiculous.
And what happened at the NRC, and above and beyond what happened to me personally at the NRC, the National Research
Yeah.
Shut down almost all blue sky research, and that was just wrong. It was the wrong thing to do. The only national laboratory in the developed world that did that. And we're reaping the rewards of that. And that will be feeling the effects in the science world in Canada for a long time to come. Moving on to Dr. Bob.
Why don't can we take like a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. See you guys in 5.
Sure.
Some things I don't approve. If he were running the free world, where would we move? The time. Just who is this clown? And just when we thought we heard it all, huffing and puffing about his big fantasy wall. Like him, you know, sounds like a 4-year-old.
Twyla, can you? Oh, you're muted. No, I can hear you.
My mic turned on. Okay. So we are back after a 5-minute hiatus.
We getting any messages in the No.
Not as far as I can tell.
Okay.
So I guess we can go on to Dr. Bob Sears. Twy, can you fill us in on who Dr. Bob is?
I call Dr. Bob an anti-vaccine panderer. The reason why he is getting charges, it's been explained, if you know ORAC and Steve Novella, Dr. Steve Novella, the charges arise from the treatment of a patient referred to as JG in the accusation or complaint filed by the board. Briefly, the board alleges that Dr. Bob, as he likes to be known, failed to obtain a detailed history of JG's previous vaccine reactions and to use that information to provide an evidence-based recommendation for future immunizations. The board alleges that JG was given a blanket exemption from future vaccinations based on patient history that seems to have included only his mother's claims, that his 2-month vaccine shut down stools and urine for 24 hours. I'd like to know how that happens, and that he was like a rag doll and not himself after his 3-month vaccines. This forms the basis of the board's accusation that Dr. Bob was grossly negligent. The fact that the actual exemption letter was not in JG's file underlies the charge that Dr. Bob failed to maintain adequate records. There's also documentation that the mother said that the father hit the baby with a hammer.
Yeah.
So how these things can be blamed on vaccines and not this getting child abuse. So Dr. Sears also has put out an alternative vaccine schedule of delayed vaccination, and it's too bad he can't be charged for that. But instead he's getting charged for a blanket exemption of vaccines based on a mother's word, which is better than nothing. The charge of repeated negligence is based on JG's presentation at Dr. Bob's office with a headache after being hit on the head with a hammer by his dad 2 weeks previously. Repeated negligence legally requires 2 or more negligent acts, so the board cites the failure to conduct neurological testing after this head trauma in addition to the vaccine exemption. So, gross negligence in the medical disciplinary cases is defined in California law as extreme departure from a standard of care. Negligence is simply a departure from standard of care. Failure to maintain records is what it says. For these alleged offenses, the board is seeking a revocation or suspension of Dr. Bob's PAs. Per California law, suspension can last up to 1 year. So if the conditions of the probation are met, well, if he gets probation, if they're met, further sanction can be avoided. So he has until September 17th. He has his response. The case could go to mediation or arbitration from there, but only if both parties agree, yada yada. So I'm glad something's being done. Anti-vaxxers, of course, are saying they're just picking on him.
Well, they are picking on him.
For no reason.
I
think there's adequate.
You know, he's not providing. He's basically giving false information, and he's telling people to not vaccinate. That's kind of a deviation from standard of care, especially for children, young children.
So of course, concern is for this child in the future for, you know, infections from disease. So
and not being hit in the head with a hammer. What the fuck? That's unbelievable. Yeah. I didn't. I have a different article up, so I didn't. Jesus. Sorry, didn't you?
Yeah, he didn't do much about getting hit on the hammer. About the child getting hit with a hammer as well. So
that's what happened to Dr. Bob in his childhood to get him to be such an anti-science person.
I hope he does pander a lot to the anti-vaccine crowd. He sells books. He makes a profit off of his fear mongering as well. So
Yeah.
I think he should be punished for several other reasons, but finally he's getting punished.
Well, you have
Actually a step in the right direction.
breaking the rules. You can't just punish him for having an opinion. So, and in this case, he broke the rules. He did put in that letter that exempted JG from vaccinations. You know, so there was a improper record keeping, which is against the Board of Medicine or Board of whatever, the doctor's board. So they got him on rule violations. But you can't have some. Unfortunately, you can't. I shouldn't say unfortunately. You can't have prosecute somebody or not prosecute. I guess this is a prosecution because it's a very court-oriented system. Goes to a judge, an actual legal judge that has medical training, and it's very court-like. So it's very much a adversarial system. But you can't. You have to get him for breaking the rules. You can't break him for having an opinion, even if it's really stupid and against all science. Right?
Yep.
Hello? We're all silent.
For once, we're quiet here.
Yeah.
We are kind of quiet tonight, actually.
All right. Yeah. So
We're not drinking enough.
I haven't had anything to drink tonight. Tomorrow's it's a school night.
I'm sipping wine. Yeah. As
So
you
the Board of California is actually going after on rule violations. So that's good. I mean, the guy kept terrible records. He's giving exemptions for considering that California just passed their new law that requires children who are attending public school to be vaccinated. So he's giving them medical exemptions without good just cause.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, absolutely, you get this person for doing that. But it was actually, the incident actually occurred before the passage of that law, SB 277. But still.
It'll be nice to see if he does get punished at all. Of course, I don't hold my breath on these types of things, so...
Yeah. Well, the worst they can do is suspend him, right, for a year, which is not a huge thing. And I don't think you should take his license away for having an opinion. But, you know, I assume this is his first offense on these rule violations. But, okay, so, but at least they're doing something about him. And that's good.
Yeah.
You guys are really quiet.
I know.
Really quiet. Yeah, so I think have we said enough about Dr. Bob?
Well, he's been a pain in the butt forever because he does give the anti-vaxxers ammo. He does pander to that, that delayed vaccine schedule, which opens children up to infection and everything else. So I don't know. I guess I've become very... I don't know. I just the things these people get away with. I just don't. I'm trying not to care as much because what can you do?
Well, speaking out is good, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got people like Borak and Paul Offit, Novella. You know, these people speak out. They don't get the same level of notoriety, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Paul Offit more than
coverage, yeah.
Anything else, but on the pro-vaccine side. So he's an author of a number of books, excellent books on vaccines, the history of vaccines, etc. And so he does a very good job of relating vaccine science to the public. unfortunately, there's too many of these loudmouth schnooks who eschew science, and he's not as Sears is not as bad as Wakefield, but he's still pretty harmful.
Yeah. And giving them their word rather than any kind of evidence. He's notorious for that. He's
That
just
definitely
finally
is a
getting.
violation of ethics. You can't do that. You need to have a good reason to supply a vaccine exemption, a medical reason,
And he'll even go speak and tell parents how to get exemptions. So
yeah, that should actually be. It depends what he's saying. If somebody has a valid medical reason to get an exemption for their child, that's one thing. It's quite another to go to basically a paper mill doctor who will give you that exemption without the requisite, taking the medical history, actually checking to see if this child reacts badly to certain vaccines, etc. There's a difference between those two things. I mean, it would be interesting to sit in on one of his seminars and find out exactly what he's espousing.
And he does make money as an anti-vaxxer, and the anti-vaxxers are the ones that are always going, oh, big pharma's all about making money. Well, this guy makes money on his books and his speaking and everything else. So come on, something about your hypocrites.
Yeah, big placebo is big money too. Well, people don't forget that little bit, when they charge big pharma for their crimes, and they do have some. There's a lot of problems in the drug industry. They don't do themselves any favors by taking doctors out and selling them on their latest drug.
Or escalating the price of necessary medications.
Yeah.
Those are low for the companies.
These people are just scum. They're definitely sociopaths. They're displaying the behavior of sociopaths more than most CEOs, which do have sociopathic tendencies. You have to get ahead in business like that. Unfortunately. No.
And USA doesn't have laws about that, and people say they don't want the government interfering, and yet when things like that happen, they're screaming for government interference to make up their minds.
You gone silent again.
Yeah, you might have to, because I didn't understand anything you said. Might have to sign off and on again.
You need to take a screwdriver to your voice module.
She'll be back.
She'll be back. Okay. Should we go on to Anjem Chowdhury?
Sure.
Appease our folks across the pond.
Yeah.
And Jolly Britain. They're called Jolly Britain? I don't know.
Jolly England? Jolly old England?
Jolly old England or something like that. Anyway. So I think we reported a little while ago that Anjem Chowdhury was convicted of basically what's the word I'm looking for? Getting people to join ISIS is a word for it.
Recruiting?
Yeah, well, recruiting is one, yeah. That's good a word as any. So he was recruiting people to join ISIS. He swore allegiance to ISIS in 2014. And that opened the door, because he's been playing fast and loose with free speech rules. And Britain, I don't think, has freedom of speech explicitly in their legal system. They don't have a constitution. But anyway, so it's been infuriating, because we all know this guy is full of it. He's basically wanting Sharia law in Britain, which is absolute craziness. He has an organization, what is it, Islam for UK? So he was finally put on trial for supporting ISIS and getting people recruited into, she's not back yet, getting people recruited into to terrorism abroad, and he received a sentence of 5.5 years or so, but he's only going to be serving half of that, so 2.5 years. And all the while, but as he was being sentenced, there was a bunch of people who are supporters who were chanting Allahu Akbar at the news of his sentencing. And so it's interesting to take a look at his past. Now, I don't want to dwell on his past too much, because I believe that people can change their minds, and they should be allowed to change their minds, especially politicians, unless of course they're going the wrong way, and then you can, like, people say politicians are flip-flopping, right? Whenever they change their minds, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
For
It's
me,
one
that's,
thing if they're double speaking kind of thing. They're saying one thing one week and then, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. But
that's
like,
flip-flop.
yeah, but to
You're
change your mind is to be persuaded to a better point of view. And that's how you should be. Well, yeah.
I call that flipping. That's fine. Flip without the flop. Somebody who's changed their mind the wrong way, well, that's a flop.
Yeah.
So, what I consider it to be the wrong way, of course. But I do not, count that against a person for changing their minds about something.
Yeah.
That's not I want to know why they changed their minds. Anyway, so, well, it's interesting why Chowdhury wasn't given a longer term, and I was actually wondering this. And here in the Mail, the Daily Mail, there's a little piece here in the blue. Inviting support for a proscribed organization is an offense under the Terrorism Act 2000, which states that the maximum sentence for the offense is 10 years. The judge in the Chowdhury case has previously said there are very few previous cases for him to base the sentence on, which is true, it probably is. As far as I know, he was the first. And he instead weighed up the seriousness of the crime. My mic's in the way. I just pulled it out of the way so I could see this. Mr. Justice Holroyd said factors he considered which reduced the term from the maximum were the lack of a direct incitement to violence and the period the men had spent on bail. He said, quote, "I must sentence you on the basis that any link between your words and the actions of others is an indirect one, and that your offenses are therefore not the most serious examples of their kind." And that's why, because I suppose Chowdhury could have come out and said explicitly, join ISIS, fight for Sharia in Britain, blah, 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 right? So Chowdhury was very careful.
Yeah.
Now, can you see this one? This is from The Sun, a UK newspaper, and it goes through a little history of Anjem Choudhury. So he's 49 now. He was born in North London, so he's a homegrown Brit. He left school after leaving high school. He began studying medicine at St. Bart's Medical School, and then he changed over to law. And he opened up, after he became a lawyer, opened up his own practice, and when he was in his late 20s. And his roles include, one of his roles was assistant for racial equality. That sounds like something that should be strived for. And he said during the trial that, quote, "I found it very difficult to give advice to people which was contrary to the divine text. There was a period in time where I reviewed my life and decided there was a better path for me. I believe ultimately we will all face our Creator and relationship with Him, and our relationship with Him should be a good one. The real court and the real judgment is on the day of judgment." Okay. He ended up marrying at the age of 29, and I love this. He went on to have 5 children, supporting his family on state benefits. He's a lawyer. What the hell? How did that happen? So he began studying under Syrian-born Sheikh Omar Bakri Mohammed, a Salafi Islamist militant leader who he compared to a famous rabbi or priest. Oh, that's a great comparison. Bakri set up an extremist group called Al-Muhajirun, Now it's outlawed in the UK as a terror organization. And he Chowdhury assisted Bakri in his Sharia courts before starting to deal with cases himself in the late 90s, and traveled with Bakri to Libya in 2005. And he returned to the UK to run Al Muhajirun after being thrown out of Libya, where Bakri himself is actually in jail. So Chowdhury remained a key figure within that group as it changed names and operated under numerous aliases after 2004, including Islam for UK. He was the group's media spokesman during the time. The group put out incendiary statements, quote unquote, calling for Buckingham Palace to be turned into a mosque and Nelson's column to be destroyed. That'd be cool. I should do that. That'd be funny. Under Chowdhury's influence, similar groups sprang up all over the world, including France and Belgium. Oh, no shock and surprise. But Chowdhury is still wanted for over a public order offense. He's very popular on Twitter, 32,000 followers. I guess there's probably more people with more, but who knows. Chowdhury swore an oath to Allah, giving evidence, but refused to lay his hand on the Quran in the trial. Interesting.
Huh.
He would, during the trial, he told how he would bait the media with controversial statements to spread his message, and made dozens of appearances on all of the major news channels. And this brings up a point. The media served him well. They bought it. You know, he baited the hook, and they took it, right? So he boasted of sharing a platform with the former leader of the head of the bar, Lord Philip, in Red Lion Square, and of an invitation to debate at Oxford Union, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the prophets of old used to stand. He says this: prophets of old used to stand and preach on the mountains. The equivalent is Sky News, CNN nowadays. Ain't that the truth? But he's basically formed Sharia law groups, across the UK, and of course wants to establish the caliphate in the UK. He had been openly sympathetic to ISIS until the organization was proscribed by the British government in June of 2014. And days after ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi declared the caliphate late June, Chowdhury met with his inner circle and agreed that the caliphate was legitimate before adding his name to an oath of allegiance that appeared online. And that's what got him arrested. He was arrested on the 25th of September in 2014. He was out on bail, served some time, and he was charged with terror offenses on the 5th of August of 2015. Now, he wasn't always this loudmouth schnook. This is from the Daily Mail: Swilling beer and smoking dope, the secret past of hate preacher Anjem Chowdhury. And this is why I say I don't really hold this against him. So here's a couple of pictures of Anjem Chowdhury, clean-shaven, throwing back beer, and it looks like a lot of beer in the second picture.
The first one just looks like bottled water.
Yeah, or
I don't know
Coke or
what it is,
something.
but yeah.
Yeah, that's beer.
Hardly an incriminating photo.
Yeah. Well, for us, it's not, right? But how often have we seen it where somebody has been, really hard the other way, drinker, womanizer, etc., and found religion, and then became, the promoter of chastity and abstinence and prohibition. It's like this person went from extreme A to extreme B.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else we got? Oh, there's Chowdhury now. Look at that picture, the power picture, right? Taken from beneath him, and it's there's Parliament in the background, and in his robes. So this guy's past is a little bit checkered, but a lot of people have been really upset about the sentence because it seems so minor. Well, he was also found guilty along with another man, and they're going to be in solitary confinement.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be all wine and roses, so to speak,
Yeah.
while in
Well, they're
prison.
afraid he'll try to indoctrinate other prisoners, I suppose, right? Yeah.
That is one of the things, yeah. So he's got literally a captive audience.
Mhm.
And so this is something they want to prevent. So unfortunately, he didn't get the maximum, but there's very little to go on. I suppose it could have been worse. He could have outright had a recruiting office for ISIS, put up a shingle. I don't know. So that's Adam Chowdhury. That was your life. He'll forever be under watch, I'm sure.
Yeah. Should be interesting to see what he does when he gets out.
Yeah, well, we'll find out in 2.5 years.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless they get him on something else.
Well, he'll probably be martyred, and like, oh, he's going to jail for, obviously, because that's what's happening when he, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's happening right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was Pride Week, or Pride Day, Calgary Pride on last Sunday. None of us were there.
Yeah.
I was, well, Chris, you had company. I had my 9 years, 11 months or so anniversary, wedding anniversary. So it'll be 10 years next Friday, or this coming Friday. And
Happy anniversary.
What's that?
I said happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. Happy anniversary to you too. Yeah. And Twy, you're up in Red Deer, so it's kind of tough.
Pardon?
Well, Twy's up in Red Deer. It's kind of tough for you to get down here.
Yes.
Yeah. But anybody, have you got anything to say on the Pride?
Not really. I wish I'd gone, but yeah.
Oh, this is just.
It's always a good time,
Best podcast ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always want to go there because the representatives from Street Preacher, Street Church, are always there.
Yeah. We'll see if I was there. See if I was marching.
Yeah, see if I was marching.
Yeah. Which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're always there every year. And of course, Artur Pawlowski would be out there with his bullhorn, yelling, tilting at windmills again.
I notice he's not getting very much media attention, or maybe I just haven't seen it, which is good because maybe they're trying to marginalize him a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, what media attention did he really get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there was that.
Breaking the law.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose there was that bus driver Jesse Rao, and he was running for whatever the hell, and that got a bit of media attention.
I think it got negative attention.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why
that's true. Yeah.
Hate group, right? It's one thing. Well, that's why I consider it to be a hate group. Remember when we did that interview with the Polish film crew?
Yes. Yeah.
Years ago? I wish I thought of this while he was here, because I would have said that Artur Pawlowski represents a hate group, and he's very anti-gay in the extreme, and he's just like Anjem Chowdhury. He's just skirting the law, just keeping on this side of it. And it's very similar. It's the parallels between Artur Pawlowski, the street preacher, look him up on Google, and Anjem Chowdhury are very, very similar.
Yeah, but Pawlowski doesn't have near the following, and everybody, he's just not taken seriously here. Maybe by handful of crazies, but you know.
Well, you know that when that film came out, the one we interviewed with the Polish film crew with, when that came out, the theater in Kensington was pretty full.
That's true. Yeah.
And
But
he's
still,
got,
I mean, look at the population of Calgary versus, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, of course.
and we were there. It's not like we agree with them.
No, I'm disappointed nobody recognized us.
Yeah, and asked for an autograph. And actually, when Kara graduated, one of the mothers who Kara's friend from kindergarten or whatever, I saw you in that film. I was like, oh my God, really? And she said, like, she's religious, but she doesn't agree with him. She's basically said, so yeah. But I'm sure there's a bit of overlap, but yeah. So, yeah.
Like I said,
that was me.
bring my, so I wasn't recognized.
We never did get a copy of that.
No, we didn't. I would love to have gotten a copy of that, but I'm not going to talk to Archer about it. So.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we could probably contact the filmmakers directly. I wonder if it's on YouTube now. I wouldn't even know what it's called, to be honest.
No, it wasn't in Polish, was it?
No.
In English. They might have done it in Polish.
They might have, yeah.
I wish I would have thought about his stance on homosexuality, because that's really what his sandwiches to people on the street is about. It's not about feeding people. It's about baiting the hook.
Spreading bigotry. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just thought he was a batshit crazy preacher. I didn't realize just how at the time that we did that documentary, I didn't realize how awful he was.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Had I known, I would have made mention of that, certainly.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think you had some kind of interaction with him before that, and you were pretty neutral on him. We obviously disagree, but it was kind of like I wouldn't say kind of a friendly disagreement. Like there was respectful disagreement, but he hadn't shown his true crazy until after that documentary, I think, right? At least not to us.
Well, you had some fun with him, Twy, or at least his brother.
Oh yeah, at the protest or online?
Yeah, at our counter protest.
Yeah, the counter protest to his anti-LGBT protest. Yeah, it was strange. It's a strange event.
It was. And what was interesting was there were a handful of, there were a few protesters, and none of them had really coordinated. You know what I mean? Like one person said, "Oh, I thought I was going to be the only one here." Right? Yeah. And there was quite a few protesters that were entirely independent of us who just showed up on their own or in groups of one or two or whatever, right? So.
Yeah, I think we were the largest group there, which is insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
there was I can't remember the lady who made the rainbow cupcakes, but that was really cool. And the kids from the crazy side were coming up and eating them. It was good. Yeah.
In that vein,
that's where Harry Leather came up and confronted me and was in my face, and the cops were kind of Larry Heather.
Larry Heather.
That the guy that ran for mayor.
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Harry Leather.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that guy. I remember Nate and I were sitting together. We were listening to him go on about Jesus. And this is a mayoral debate.
Yeah.
We
look at each other like, what the hell is this guy on?
Everybody in the audience was looking at each other like that because you just don't do that. It's a really good way not to get elected here, is to start spewing off about religious bullshit.
Yeah.
That's why Harper was so quiet about it. That's probably why he got elected, was because he shut up. Unfortunately, in a sense.
He's smart about it.
That's the thing, though. I think it's relevant. I mean, if it's going to color your policy making, I want to know. I want to know.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if it's not going to affect your policy making and you're going to conduct yourself as a secular person, I don't care. I don't want to hear about it, and I don't care. Just conduct yourself as a secular person, and it's all good.
which is what Harper didn't do. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, like Marinenci, he's a
Yeah, yeah. That's exactly who came to mind.
We'd never know.
Yeah.
Speaking on gay pride in Nanaimo, like in Calgary, a lot of the cities have had these crosswalks painted in rainbow colors, and in Nanaimo, somebody came up and spray painted Leviticus 18:22-23, which you can pretty much guess what that is. Men lying with men are an abomination kind of thing. Yeah, actually, I'm going to bring up the picture. There we go. So here we go. Somebody want to look up Leviticus 18:22-23?
Sure.
Well, they just say in the article it contains reference to, among other things, not having sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. And then Roman 1:26-27, a verse reference men committing shameful acts with other men.
Yeah, it's funny how they don't really explicitly say it. I guess it was too risque, a Bible reference.
Okay. Do you want me to read it?
Sure, go ahead.
This is from the New International Version from BibleGateway.com. 22. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. 23. Do not have sexual relations with an animal and defile yourself with it. A woman must not present herself to an animal to have sexual relations with it. That is a perversion. So what the hell are they writing 23 down for?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess.
Oh my God. Oh.
Probably doesn't know.
Oh.
Oh, that's
Crazy.
unfortunate.
Well, the point these people are missing is that we're trying to move past the dark ages and into the future where, you know, human rights are human rights, and they completely miss the point. And it's like, oh, let's stay in their dark ages, people. 22, 23.
Well, don't forget that tattoos are also prohibited in Leviticus. So why aren't they?
Is it shellfish?
Yeah. And mixed fabrics and cutting your hair and shaving and yeah.
The fabric one is kind of bizarre. Where did that come from? Nobody actually knows.
Which one?
The mixed fabric.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
Somebody was probably like, yeah, let's see if they'll follow this one. Yeah.
Kidding.
That. Right. Let's see what else other stupid things we could say.
Well, it's Deuteronomy 22:11. Do not wear clothes of wool and linen. Shall not wear mixed material mixed of wool and linen.
Strange. Maybe it's itchy? I don't know.
I think
What's that?
it's a trade dispute.
Probably. Yeah.
Was bringing in these fancy new duds in mixed fiber, and they say, hey, let's make a religious prohibition against this so we don't lose our business.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I should actually present that to somebody. They might be able to corroborate it somehow. I don't know.
Then Leviticus 19:19.
Yeah?
What's that one?
What the heck? I'm just looking that up now. It says Leviticus 19:19 is closely tied to one time and one place. You shall keep my statutes. You shall not let your cattle breed with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of feed, nor shall you wear a garment of cloth made of two kinds of material. So it's in the Bible a few times. So why don't people listen to it?
Very important. I wonder how many times rape was in the Bible. Prohibitions against rape.
Yeah, 0 apparently.
There's the one thing where you, if you're in a city, a woman's in a victim is in a city and doesn't yell loudly enough, she wasn't really raped. Serious. That's in.
Sick.
All right. Away from from religion now. Some might even call this skepticism. Now, in 2011, Calgary City Council decided to get rid of water fluoridation. And this actually ties back in with that stage full of crazy and that mayoral debate that we attended. And one of the is it John LoRD? That is
Yeah,
the first.
it was John LoRD. The late John LoRD.
John
He
LoRD.
was in it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a little wacky on this.
Yeah.
He claimed that water fluoridation was the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on mankind. Okay. So that was another what the fuck moment. And so in 2011, they got rid of fluoridation. And of course, guess what happened? That number of cavities in children began to rise. And in fact, it's one of the most interesting cases, one of the best cases we have for studying, since 1975, the effects of water fluoridation or no fluoridation. So a study was done. It was presented in February this year that showed that water fluoridation decreases the number of cavities, and that we should go back to water fluoridation. Now, this is interesting because I say it's been one of the best studies since 1975, because I go back to a Cochrane review, which is one of the biggest organizations that does medical reviews, does meta-analyses of studies, and I'm going to show you the green on there. If you look at this where my cursor is pointing, the Cochrane library over here, there's a little graph here, and it's actually their first big success, and that was the use of steroids in premature birth to help premature babies breathe better. And it was one of their big successes.
What's that? Move your mouse so I can see it, because I can't.
Right here.
I don't see your mouse.
Oh. Look on the top right. Below search is full text links.
Okay.
Cochrane Library. Okay. And so that's actually a graph that shows that the use of steroids, in a meta-analysis, looking at the use of steroids in premature babies to improve their breathing, because they have respiratory problems. So anyway, I moved down to the author's conclusions. There is very little contemporary evidence meeting the review's inclusion criteria that has evaluated the effectiveness of water fluoridation for the prevention of caries, or cavities as we would call them. The available data come predominantly from studies conducted prior to 1975 and indicate that water fluoridation is effective at reducing caries levels in both deciduous and permanent dentition in children. Our confidence in the size of the effect estimates is limited by the observational nature of the study designs, the high risk of bias within the studies, and, importantly, the applicability of the evidence to current lifestyles. So there's a couple of reasons why this study in Calgary was very important, is because, one, it's not 1975, and they actually, within the study, accounted for current lifestyles on the effects of fluoride on cavity prevention. So it looks like there's some good evidence for actually going back to water fluoridation. And so now City Council is reconsidering the issue, and hopefully they will make, they'll go back to it. Now, there is an issue with high fluoridation levels. I mean, in North America, we're typically fluoridating public water reservoirs we're fluoridating water at 1 part per million. But if you go up a little bit, not too high, even at 2.5 to 3 ppm, you can have significant effects on IQ, brain development children. Their IQs are drop if you've got too high fluoride concentration or flow rate. So that's hopefully that will happen in the near future.
Okay, so I had dinner tonight with my friend Steve Chapman, who at one time ran for city council, and I had not heard good arguments really against fluoride. It's always been just kind of alarmist stuff like John LoRD was doing, right? Like, oh, it's a conspiracy, you know, blah, 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 right? But he actually had some really good points, and one of them was that at the time that they were debating that, it was because whatever system they had to fluoridate the water was actually in need of a replacement. It was going to cost the city money, so there's that. And second, and I had no idea, he said that you can get fluoride supplements free, like at clinics and stuff like that. So if you want your, to give to your kids, right? So I had no idea about that. I didn't see any public, campaign around that. Right? So it's not like he's anti-fluoride, and he brought up some, really good arguments. And he said another thing too is that the people that are kind of anti-fluoride would be buying bottled water, and that's, A, out of their pocket, B, not good for the environment. So, he had some really good arguments that like I said, I hadn't heard those arguments before, and they were good arguments,
I would say they've saved enough money on fluoridation now they can afford to upgrade the system.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I didn't know that you could get free fluoride supplements anywhere. I had no idea. Why didn't they, put that out to the...
Because it costs them.
You can get fluoridated mouthwash too. When I was in Calgary, I made sure I got fluoridated mouthwash while I was there.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so this guy wasn't like anti-fluoride or anything like that. He had a couple of other points that I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's like, finally I hear a good argument, right?
With this increase in cavity issues, most parents aren't aware of what they can do to make sure their children are getting adequate fluoride and not too much fluoride. It's easier to have it controlled in the water.
Yeah. He also says something, people over 50 apparently, there can be issues if they get too much fluoride. So if you're guzzling water all the time and...
Well, are you talking about osteoporosis?
Yes, that was one. Yeah.
Actually, I've looked into that. There's really no evidence for it.
Okay, yeah.
No. There's been an argument in the literature on that, and I took a look, and it's just no. Just not. The evidence is not there. There's another, I think, hypothyroidism is another potential one, and they've reassessed that, and no, there's no danger of that. The real danger is in the developing brain. As long as fluoridation levels are kept low, it's okay. But if they get too high, it's not a surprise that you'll learn that these studies of effects of high fluoridation happen in places like China and India.
The water is naturally high.
Yeah, and controls of water quality are, well, let's just say a little,
Yeah.
or non-existent.
Yeah, if they were actually controlling fluoride levels in those areas, they'd be taking the fluoride out and they wouldn't have those issues. Yes.
So here it's a little bit different. So we can control things very well. So the evidence before this study was probably not that good in favor of fluoride. This study, while it's still only a single study, at least lends credence to what we have from 1975 or earlier. And that's all I got to say on that.
Yeah. Well, I hope they do the right thing this time, because I think there's enough evidence now that controlling the fluoride levels an adequate level rather than none is beneficial to everyone.
So the Alberta Secular Conference is coming up. I'm going to put that on the screen, and there we go. And there's going to be, I know that there's a couple of people who have been announced. For instance, the Friendly Atheist, Vicki Garrison, I met her at Imagine No Religion last year, not this year.
Yeah.
She was basically a victim of the Quiverful movement, and she has her own website organization called No Longer Quivering. Ray Hanabir, we talked to him shortly after he emigrated to Toronto, and he was a Bangladeshi blogger who was one of those under threat of death by Islamists in that country, and some of his best friends were murdered with machetes. Lovely. Who else is going to be there? Is that the? Let's see.
No, is it? Okay.
Let me see if I can guest speakers. There we go. Okay, Karen and Nate are doing the emceeing again. Hemant Mehta, Christopher and the Atheist, Vicki Garrison, Rihanna Beer, Cami Ryan.
Cami's pro-GMO. She's very knowledgeable about biology, etc.
Yeah. Okay. Lynn Honey will be back again. I don't know if she's going to be talking about the statistics again. But yeah, it was very interesting. Bradley Peter, he's a supporter of assisted dying rights. Luke Fevin, who is very big in Alberta on the getting rid of prayer in schools. Jim Linville. Jim, we had him on the podcast a long time ago. I want to get him on again because he did a study on all the creation museums in North America. He did a big travel and actually went to every one of them and to get his take on that. He's an Old Testament scholar at the University of Lethbridge. Marnie Panas. Let's see. I'm not sure what her talk will be on, but I guess it'd be diversity. Huh. Yeah. Brooke Biggin is queer, a pause artist. What's a pause? What is that? And community organizer. He currently works for HIV Edmonton and Alberta Community Council on HIV. So it'd be LGBT issues. So it's going to be good.
Marnie is transgender, so maybe she'll be speaking about something to do with that too. Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh yeah, it says transgender women. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. And so if you go, you can go to Alberta absecularconference.
yolasite.com.
Yeah.
Right. You can go to our Facebook page. We can post it there. Yeah.
Just go to our Facebook. And if you haven't liked our Facebook page, do so because I put up a lot of good stuff on there.
Yep.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes, you do. Yeah. I steal it and put it on the Canadian Secular. What is it? Canadian Secular Humanist page.
I sometimes look for you, so there you go.
Good. Yeah.
Mutual stealing, leveraging.
I get a lot of stuff from
sharing.
Global Secular. What is that again? The
Global Secular Humanist Movement. Yeah, well, that's the Canadian Secular Humanist page is under that umbrella, which is Faisal's initiative, right?
Yeah.
Faisal Said Almatar, yeah.
He and Melissa Chen.
Yeah.
We should get them on the show again, just for.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Shits and giggles. And so that's all we got, I guess, for this week. Holy crap! It's been 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yes.
I kind of felt that Twy was fading away.
Any comments on the page? Let's see here.
Oh yeah.
Just curious. Nope.
Okay. Yeah. Well, for those who listened in, thank you. And come back again. I hope.
Yeah.
Next time it'll be not Google Hangouts. They're getting rid of that, but
yeah, that's right. And so I got to figure out what's going on with YouTube. So that's where Google Hangouts is moving to. So this is the last one in Google Hangouts. I think it's going to be a little easier to see what's happening in YouTube. So because basically we have to go to the YouTube page to take a look at comments. Not very ergonomic.
Yeah, actually, When I was saying that, oh, I'm hearing 2 tracks, it's because I had the freaking YouTube and it's not synced, and like, oh, I'm an idiot, right? I need to. Technology evades me. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not the most intuitive interface, so I'm really, really hoping that YouTube's live broadcasting is a little easier to handle, and who knows?
Hopefully, yeah.
I
Since
hope
you're the
it's
one who does all the work, it's kind of like like I'm oblivious, which I really
yeah,
appreciate. Yeah.
yeah, it's not that bad. It's easier than doing Skype, yeah, by far,
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
because then I have to. It's a mess when I record the feeds from Skype and try to put them on YouTube. It's a total mess.
Okay.
Well, I'm doing this because they were talking about 8-10 hours of work just to get the.
Holy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a monstrous, monstrous task. So I don't want to do it. I don't get paid.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
We're
Well, you should
shills, but
start
we
a
don't get paid.
Patreon.
Yeah, no. I don't want to do that to anybody who listens.
Yeah, fair enough.
Not that professional a podcast. I've never done this. Wanted to do this for the money because there's no money. Which is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So great. So there's a lot of talk about the demonetization on YouTube, and I
Yeah, I've heard something about that. Yeah.
care. I just wouldn't care.
Yeah. Well, some people do it for their living, right?
Yeah.
It'd piss me off if that was my, livelihood.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe switch to instead of YouTube. I mean, you definitely lose. What you could do is, I don't know what you could do. Like, you'd have to go to a more liberal site.
Yeah, and it's all about take up, right? I'm sure those things exist, but if they've not been taken up by, enough people, then they're not gonna,
Yeah.
just like there's that alternative to Facebook Sam was talking about. I can't remember what it's called now, but
Oh,
it's a
yeah.
social media platform, and with Facebook's censorship and that kind of thing that's going on all the time.
Well,
Yeah,
that
but
napalm photo. That was
what's up?
the whole thing with the napalm girl photo.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, man.
Wow. Really? It's
That's one of the
that's like trying to erase history. That's just what's up?
Yeah. It's one of the most iconic photos of all time,
Yeah.
certainly
Yeah.
20th century. And Facebook won't allow that because it's a little girl who's running nude, and that girl, by the way, lives in Toronto now.
I know. What an amazing story, hey?
Very upset about it.
Yeah.
Facebook is focusing on the nudity. I mean, it's not about the nudity. It's about the tragedy, the innocent lives affected by war.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what that was about. It was nothing to. Only a sick person's going to get turned on by that. I mean,
No shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There we go. It wasn't just her in the picture either.
no, it wasn't. People
Yeah.
running napalm. It's
Yeah, that was way over the top. I'll often post like when some of our friends' pages get taken down and stuff like that. I share that just because I'm like, okay, I'd like to know what especially if it's something that I can share, because hey, if you get taken down, I'm gonna share in that risk, and it's just bullshit. Some of the things that like Melissa, Faisal, Mariam Namazi, lots of people have had their pages taken down for periods of time for offensive things, right?
And just
just-
now on my Facebook, a picture on the Credible Hulk page, you have to actually click to unhide the picture now. It says see photo. You have to click on it and say see photo, and it's a picture I shared yesterday at 10:30 p.m. and it's about it's a meme, and it says despite repeated studies showing it has no medicinal properties, many people still believe rhino horn can treat many ailments. Now, when I first shared this, you didn't have to click on see picture, but now you do. What the heck is that about?
this whole offense thing that just continually drives me crazy. If you're you don't have a right to not be offended. You just don't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the case of Faisal and you know, some of the ex-Muslims and stuff like that, there's a clear campaign, I think, and we all know where that's coming from. But this thing with you know, the little girl in the photo, where the hell did that come from?
Came from Facebook
That's
itself.
that's just crazy, you know. Yeah.
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 Anyway, well, it's time to go to bed.
Okay, good night.
Yes, I'm gonna work tomorrow,
Yes, me too.
Monday.
I got to take those long stairs down to the basement here.
What's up?
I have to take those long flights of stairs to the basement.
Oh, okay.
I work in my house coat pajamas
Nice.
for the day. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. So thanks for being on again. I mean, you guys are great. You're here almost every week. Or
Well, and
every
thank
time.
you for doing this. You're the
Yeah.
one who puts it all together, and it's so much fun. It's such a cathartic experience every couple of weeks to you know, hang out with
Keeps
you
me
guys.
sane.
And, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you for
Mm.
keeping me sane.
Therapy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. Have a good, I guess, 2 weeks. Back in 2 weeks. I'll see if I can scrounge a guest or a guest co-host.
Yeah, I'll follow up on Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be,
yeah. That kind of slipped my mind until, yeah.
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 And I got to get back with the head of Recovering from Religion now.
Okay. Yeah.
I've been remiss in that. Get a few other people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night, everybody.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.